Exponents class. To begin with the class, we are going to remember what are the elements that make this expression an equation. First of all, we need to have a variable, which is a letter representing a number that we don't know what number it is. And very important is that we need to have an equal sign. If we don't have an equal sign, then it's not an equation, it's just an expression. Now that we have proved that this is an equation, we are going to solve it. So, how do we solve an equation? Remember that we can always add elements to equations as long as we add the same element on every side of the equation. In this case, since what we are trying to remove is the exponent, we are going to add an opposite operation, which is a square root. Let's add a square root on both sides of the equation and let's solve it. The square root of x squared is x. The equal sign and the square root of 100, which is 10. Now, since 10 times 10 equals 100, but also negative 10 times negative 10 equals 100 positive, we are going to add both signs to the 10. This means that both positive and negative 10 is the answer for our equation. That is the value of x. Now, coming from this, we get the rule for solving equations of this form. The rule for solving equations of this form is x squared equals a. If a is a number that is greater than 0, then our answer will always be x equals plus minus the square root of a, which is what we did in here with the 100. Now let's solve some exercises. If you are watching the PowerPoint presentation along with this video, it is on your slides. It is the skill check number 1. Our first exercise is x squared equals 81. To solve it, we are going to do the same we did with our example. We add a square root on both sides. We get x equals plus minus. This always goes, the plus and minus, it's always included in an answer. And the square root of 81 is 9. Our second exercise is x squared plus 6 equals 42. Now we have another element in this equation. We have the plus 6. What are we going to do? Another thing we have to remember is that when we are solving an equation, we always use the order of operation in reverse, okay? Our order of operation in the correct order is first we do parentheses, then we solve the exponents, then we solve the multiplications and divisions, and lastly addition and subtractions. Since we are doing an equations and we are doing the opposite, we are going to use the order of operation from the bottom up, okay? So the first thing we are going to remove is the addition and subtractions. We have here a plus 6. So let's add an element that will remove the 6. What is the opposite operation of plus or the addition? It's a subtraction. Since we added a negative 6 on this side of the equation, we are going to add 1 on the other side. We are going to have x squared, 6 minus 6 equals 0, and 42 minus 6 is 36. Now that we have the equation of the form x squared equals a, we are going to square root it. We get x equals plus minus 6. Now you can solve the other two exercises on the presentation on your own. There may be cases where we don't have a perfect square in our answer. For example, we have x squared minus 14 equals 29. What is the first thing we do is remove the 14. We have x squared minus 14. What can we add in order to remove this 14? We add another 14, but now positive. And we add it on both sides. As a result, we get x squared equals 43. Our next step is to take the square root of both sides, and we get x equals, the square root of 43 is a decimal number. So what we are going to do is leave the answer in radical form, just adding plus minus square root of 43. And that would be our answer. You don't have to use a calculator to get the square root of 43. You don't have to take the long process to take the square root. Just leave it in radical form. Another case that we may have is that we could have times where our answer is a square root of a negative number. What are we going to do on those cases? Let's see. Order of operation upside down. First, we are going to remove the addition. 6x squared plus 41 minus 41 equals 17 minus 41. We get 6x squared equals negative 24. Now we are going to remove the multiplication by dividing. 6 divided by 6 is 1x squared. Negative 24 divided by 6 is negative 4. We get the square root. The result is x equals. Is there any two negative numbers that will give us as a result a negative number? No, there isn't, because our law of the sign says that two negatives equal one positive. So, there is no real number that will give us the square root of 4. That is why our answer is that x is not real. You can also answer the other two exercises in the skill check number 2 that is also in your presentation. And that is it for the topic. Don't forget to log in for the Q&A in Facebook Live to solve all your questions about this topic. Have a nice day.